Melyssa Ford was on the Joe Budden podcast recently. Um, as in like she's a host on the podcast. But they was
Yeah,
talking to this. I think he's a singer or a songwriter or whatever. I believe he is a singer.
yeah. Emanny is a singer. He's done quite a few hooks singing for Joe Budden.
I told you.
He had a
You
couple of
did it,
singles. Nah,
but
nah,
you
nah.
can't give me
That
up.
that's E-Man. E-Man. That's a different nigga.
Oh, different nigga.
Fuck you,
Oh,
you bitch. I don't want you back.
fuck you back.
That was my shit though. I love that song. But yeah, Imani he sings he's sung quite a few hooks for Joe Budden.
Mm-hmm.
He's been featured on quite a few of his songs. But
Yep.
I did not see this part of the Joe Budden podcast.
Oh well, I'll set it up. I believe our producer is still here. Uh, I think I sent that clip to the chat. Anyway, so in the clip, he was talking about the affinity that we held for video victims of yesteryear,
Mm-hmm.
and he was saying that they weren't held in the regard as where we respected them in that nature, or we held them up on a pedestal. It was of more so of we looked at them as individuals that we wanted to bed. It
Yeah.
wasn't oh my God, you're beautiful, and let me hold you up here and exalt you, and all of this honor and reverence that Melyssa Ford was trying to insinuate that the video vixens and the video girls of her day garnered. That's what she was coming with it. Like, oh, back in the day, we was respected,
back in
and
my day.
people really held on to us and valued our contribution to hip hop and all whatever the fuck it
Hey,
was. I don't know.
hey, are those things mutually exclusive though? If you niggas be lying to these hoes,
What?
I say, are those things mutually exclusive? If you niggas be lying to these hoes,
Mm, you might have a point there. If you lying to this bitch to make her delusional, can you fault her for being delusional?
being delusional, right?
Hmm.
Especially retroactively, especially once she's profited from the fucking delusion.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like in hindsight, yes,
Outlook
you
on
can
what the
because
perception was.
I think so.
We didn't hold
hey,
y'all
don't
at
tell
a
y'all.
high
You pause.
esteem or respect. We really just looked at y'all like y'all.
all right, so I'm saying in retrospect, yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, you can look at the actions, and the actions don't coincide with the lies that were told. So you have to know that that was a fucking lie.
When we talk about Melyssa Ford, we ain't talk about the whole that didn't make it. We talk about the whole that everything people said to her, they upheld to now she's sitting as a pod. Now all them hoes is podcast, like the number one podcast co-host. Like, so she may be oblivious. She may not have saw the forest from the trees. Because she is the one they exalted and lied to the most.
Hmm.
There's
So
there's a,
she may
there's a,
be a
there's a,
victim of
there-
circumstance.
there's a there's a there's a there's a thought behind that. There's an argument to be had behind that. Let's have it on the other side of this video though, real quick.
All right.
Uh, I don't know if you gonna put it back up now. Here we go.
What I remember, I think you have a different outlook on what the perception was.
I think so.
We didn't hold y'all at a high esteem or respect. We really just looked at y'all like, y'all some bad chicks that niggas won't
Physically,
fuck.
yeah.
Literally, like I'm not being disrespectful.
Me either.
I'm saying like when we sat back as consumers watching the videos, we didn't say, "Oh my God, those are beautiful women." They're the light of our lives. And
I didn't say that you guys thought that shit.
No, I'm not saying.
I did not.
No,
I
what I'm
didn't say
saying, what
that
I'm saying, you said that there was a level of high regard. I don't think there was any regard outside of us just looking like these are just attractive women that
I am
we would.
sitting.
Just like, just humping the pillows and shit.
No, like, but it's ignorant. No, it's super ignorant. Yeah. But I just really think that that's how the consumer and most people were thinking.
No, okay. I think that that's incorrect. I do. Maybe it's because of my lived experience and where I fit in this part of the story. And yeah, no, that's the way that that was the way that it was. You know, I watched the shift. I watched
Nigel Hart's edits. Mel's career gets this.
Yeah.
I can see what her perspective, because she said from her lived experience.
What do you think her lived experience was?
A bunch of niggas selling dreams.
And at this point in her life, she can't recognize her lived experience was a bit of a fallacy. A bunch of niggas selling her some pipe dream shit.
It was a bunch of niggas selling dreams and then tricking off on her.
You can't recognize the thing
is, but the thing is, what is the difference? It's because niggas didn't mean it, so now she's supposed to again retroactively go back and say she wasn't exalted when she was exalted. Like she's literally every word of the word.
I want you to retroactively go back and say that wasn't love. That wasn't actual exaltation. That was people using me.
But here's the thing. How many serfs actually really feel that way about the exaltation of the king?
Hey, I don't give a fuck.
Should the king give a fuck?
What you saying?
What I'm saying is when they lay at the feet of the king, should the king give a fuck if they receiving everything that they saying? Just because they go home like, man, that bitch think I rule. Nigga, you done bought her everything, gave her this, gave her that, said all that shit to her face. And just because you go home and say some shit, it's like if a tree falls in the forest.
Okay, this is the thing. This is the point.
If everything you said to this bitch is true.
At her age, looking back, she should be able to recognize when she looks back over her life and see where she is now and what she is doing now. And say, all that love wasn't really love.
She's a co-host on the number one podcast.
All right, cool, fam. If you think it's sick. I don't know how much money these motherfuckers really making or how exalted.
Do I think that's where she wanted to go?
She is there because she's there, fam. It ain't she's there because she's there, fam.
I can see why they wouldn't want to have this conversation.
She's there with a.
I can see
she's there. You know the Joe Budden podcast is essentially a has been and a bunch of never wases. That's what it is. And so for you to sit there and see no, let me finish. For you to sit there and be like, man, Joe, I was I was exalted. I was the queen. People were waiting on me hand and foot and this, that, and the third, and life was a red carpet laid out for me. And now I have to do a podcast every day. And I'm not knocking podcasts. I do a podcast. Podcast is cool. But to go from exaltation to now the common working man is a thing. That's not how the trajectory is supposed to go if you were designing it. If you was writing it out, you wouldn't write it out that way. It'd be on the upward slope, not the downward. 1. 2. her being this old and not understanding the way she was treated then and looking at her life now. These men that were beating down my door ain't no longer beating down my door. I didn't used to have to go out and seek the attention of the men that I wanted. Now I have to. And also, the men that I'm now garnering the attention of aren't the alphas in the room. They aren't the apex people in the area. These are I'm getting the attention from the also rans. That's who's checking for me now. Back in my day, an also ran couldn't fathom talking to me. But now they can. Because you have fallen off. And there has to become a realization that that love wasn't real. If you're not able to recognize it when you 40 something, what does that say about you?
Yeah. But,
in the face of being told it.
Yeah, the all right, but you can't do you blame her for accepting the lies if she was never told that it was a lie?
I blame her for accepting it now. With age, I mean, ain't you supposed to get a little bit smarter?
Yeah.
I expect you to be to dissuade individuals from believing that bullshit. I want you to know that it was bullshit and accept it. Yeah, these motherfuckers blowing smoke on my ass the whole time. Not well, from my lived experiences, no, bitch, they was using you. I want you to recognize that. They gotta connect at this age. In the room full of men that are telling you, yeah, this is how we felt about you. Now, you wasn't special. You were attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And she's sitting there, no, I was special. No, you weren't. You were attractive. These men weren't treating you like you were special. And they're telling you. They were treating you like you were attractive. And that's what we have to get to the point where we let our little girls know that shit that don't mean a motherfucker like you.
See, this
That
is
means
where
motherfucker want to fuck you.
this is where
There's a
men
difference.
this is where men need to stop with the ego
Right.
and back. And this is what men do, right? Men give a bitch a whole bunch of shit, and then when it don't go in the direction that they deem it's supposed to go, then they want to laugh at the bitch and tell her because I could have gave you more. That's essentially what's going on. If that bitch say she was exalted, she felt exalted, she received everything she got and more. Who are any of us to tell her that ha ha, bitch, we just wanted to fuck? Fam, if we were sitting there lying to fuck, giving her gifts to fuck, getting her video shoots, getting her movie roles, getting her all of these shits, and she's comfortable with where she landed, and she thinks she was exalted, just because we could have done more does not denote what actually happened. You can't then go, aha, bitch, we could have gave you so much more. We just wanted to fuck. Like that is kind of corny.
No, you think I'm not saying we could have given you so much more.
That's essentially
But the
what you're
only reason you
implying.
got shit was because motherfuckers was trying to fuck you.
Bro,
They weren't loving
again,
you.
again,
That's what I was saying. That's the
tomato,
point that I think you're missing.
no. I think the point you missing is we don't give a fuck what you gave her the money for. You told her it was for this. She accepted it for this. This happened, and she moved on. And then you, 20 years later, go, ha 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 ha! I gave that to you just to fuck. That doesn't matter, nigga. That's corny. You gave her this.
She's sitting there under the guise that she was loved in that moment.
Bro, if she was loved in that moment, if she felt loved in that moment, she was loved in that moment.
But she
If
wasn't.
if a motherfucker was faking her, then they did an awesome job. See, the thing is, if a motherfucker's telling these bitches, what y'all want to be is the niggas that tell a bitch the truth, and then she then be able to tell her you wasn't exalted. That's what's going on.
What?
But if motherfucker, this is the thing, motherfuckers didn't want to tell a bitch she wasn't shit then. It's like you can't give a motherfucker $100 and they be appreciative of the $100. And then 20 years later say, I was a millionaire. I only gave you that 100 because I wanted to fuck. Well, that's not what you said. That's not what happened. That's not what transpired. And here we are 20 years later. You can't fault me for being delusional. And you can't expect me to go back then and say, because you saying that now, that you just wanted to fuck. But that's not what was happening back then, nigga. You was giving me money. You were taking me on dates. You were showing me to your mama. You would do it. You were getting me jobs. And then I'm now here. I'm now here on the #1 podcast where every other video vixen is somewhere at Walmart. So to have the conversation, first off, might be bad with Melyssa Ford. I can see it happening anywhere else, and they get off that shit where bitch didn't land where she wanted to land. And not to say even Melyssa Ford wanted to be where she's at. Because she may be faking until she make it too. But until the bitch tell us, hey, I'm miserable. Then what the niggas, then you can't tell them off. If you're lying to someone actively, they believe the lies. And nothing ever comes from the lies but what you say. That's the truth.
Hey, fam.
Yes, sir.
Before you continue on this shit, just for as long as you're gonna go. Melyssa Ford had a horrific accident. Horrible. She was injured.
Truck accident.
She had to set up they had to set up a GoFundMe for her. There was a GoFundMe set up. Was there not? Am I misremembering that?
I have no idea. This is news to me.
All right. They're talking about how she needs help, finances and stuff like that, because she's now not able to do the show Hollywood Unlocked. Her financial situation will become tenuous because she couldn't do the podcast. And we know how much podcasts pay, fam. Come on, let's be real. We know what it is. So her not having that put her in that tenuous of a position. Being a woman who was exalted by all these men of means should put a perception of reality on you that maybe I am not as adored as I thought.
Now that I'm aged out and I can no longer offer the shit back in the 40, we talking about when I was 20. Not now. We're talking about when I was 20.
That's what I think you're missing.
Huh?
You're not special, you attractive. What you missing?
There is no missing anything. I think you missing the point. If everything you said you did and nothing swayed from what you said, it don't matter if you were lying.
I think it matters because your reality sets in and you alone in situations where you're going to want some people to be there for you. And when all those people that you thought were going to be there for you turn their backs because you're no longer viable for what they were using you for. Again, using you, not actually caring about you, using you. And for her to be this age and not recognize the usury relationships that she had engaged in, not being able to be a source of information to young women following in her footsteps to say, no, young girl, that man doesn't love you. No, you are not revered as you think. You are just ravished over and disregarded. Look what happened to me. I was also one that thought that these men held me in some esteem. Found out they didn't. Because they don't. That's what I was expecting. That's what I'm looking for from her. Not that I got tricked and you got tricked. Shame on you for getting tricked. No, motherfucker, everybody can get got. Who the fuck can't get got? I've been got. I'm not gonna begrudge her for being fooled. I begrudge her for remaining a fool.
Mm. And so you're saying that she should recognize at this point that those were dreams being sold, and the reality of the situation was not what you think it is.
That's it. That's all.
I think
you got to come to a point where we just acknowledge that shit. They got me. Don't get got like I got. I'm okay now. Took work. Whole lot of work. I'm okay now. But I had to get here. Don't follow my path. There's an easier way. That's the thing we supposed to be getting to. That's the bar I hold these motherfuckers to. Not judging you against your past and what you did. You got to be held to that like that. Not for me. I'm not finna sleep with you. I ain't finna date you. I'm not with you. So that's not my angle on it. But you're a person of notoriety. You're influential. I don't think that people who don't get it should have influence. So I'll be blunt in what I say every step of the way. I know you might not hear it, but in the off chance that you do, this is good advice. I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it was.
So you think that she should be out here telling the women, don't listen to that bullshit. Make a motherfucker prove it.
Make a motherfucker prove it. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what I'm on. And hey, look, it is what it be. Be what it is. Motherfuckers should get into that shit. They want to, they will. If they don't, they're gonna find themselves Melyssa Ford in another 30 years. And it's gonna be a lot harder 30 years from now for Melyssa Ford to be a Melyssa Ford. Because we don't even know y'all names no more. Y'all gotta get into situations and do depraved shit in order to even kick the scales. You gotta get on the dating show and degrade yourself with 15 other women for the love of a motherfucker who is a one-hit wonder or a no-hit wonder because he got a couple of Instagram followers and shit.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That the accessibility of people have made it both easier and harder to actually stand out.
Mm-hmm.
It's made it easier to get the attention, but harder to sustain the attention.
Yep.
And so that should be what they are. Yeah, that should be what we are warning our young people about. Like, the clout chasing is unsustainable.